Hello everyone, welcome to the third session of your module Build Asset Management. This is Carlos Galera. I'm lecturer in project management and business analytics, and I will be covering some sessions throughout this module. Let's start with our presentation for today. Well, in this week, we aim to describe the asset development process from concept to project approval. We will describe the link between business strategy and asset strategy by introducing the concept of capability and capability gap analysis. In addition, we will explore the links between project management in the built environment and built asset management. Well, first of all, I would like to give you an overview of the main aspects that we are going to cover in that session. We will start by talking on the identification of business needs and the link between business needs and business strategy for an organization. Later, we will present the concept of capability and we will explain how capability gap analysis need to be performed. Later, we will focus on pre-feasibility analysis of development options leading to a proposal at that preliminary approval stage. And later, we will study the feasibility analysis and how the creation of an acquisition or development plan is. Finally, we will be exploring the development plan for build assessed and the connection that we need to establish between project management and build asset management. Well, before beginning to introduce other concepts, I would like to set the scene about the topic that we will be covering today. As you already know, the focus of build asset management is on strategic planning and operation and maintenance. Today, we will focus on the early stages for strategic planning and how we can link these initial stages with the project initiation and the project definition phases that we consider in project life cycle. I would like to start by reviewing some key concepts that have been already covered in previous sessions. You probably are now familiar with the definition of asset. If you remember, an asset is an item, thing, or entity that has potential or actual value to an organization. But we can distinguish many different types of assets: financial, information assets, human assets, intangible assets, and physical assets. So, in that module, we will focus particularly in the physical assets, and more specifically, we will focus on built assets. So the question is, what is a built asset? A built asset can be infrastructures like roads, railways, bridges, buildings like schools, hospitals, housings, shopping center, commercial developments, office buildings, factories, and also in that classification, we can include major components within a building, like fixed furniture, the lifts, all the electrical services, installations, important equipments, etc. In previous week, you have already identified which are the main activities that build asset management compels. They are the identification of business opportunities and needs, the asset capability gap analysis and requirements analysis, the pre-feasibility analysis, physical and financial option selection, feasibility planning, acquisition, development and implementation, operation and maintenance, monitor and review, and disposal. Well, from all these different activities, today we are going to focus on these first four activities, from the identification of business opportunities to the development of a plan for acquisition, development, or implementation of a built asset. Let's introduce now one of the main aspects that we will be covering in that session, the identification of business needs. You already need to be aware that the business strategy and the asset strategy are linked. Actually, the asset strategy must be responsive to the business strategy. It means that there are a serial of business issues that will generate an impact on the asset strategy. These business issues could be changes in the demand for a particular product or service, changes in the type or level of the product or service which are required, new technological uh, developments that are disruptive for a particular industry, issues related with the timing, operation connected with acquisitions, uh, new limitations or regulatory aspects, different risks that may arise, changes in the operational practice of the company, or even the outsourcing or insourcing of services or functions. The important thing here is that you understand that the asset strategy will be intimately linked with the business strategy. Obviously, the organizations want to grow. They want to develop their business. In order to do that, most of the organizations have a senior level group which identify different business development needs, examine the different options to meet the different needs, establish the priorities by assessing the financial returns, the source and constraints, and decide which major development projects will be initiated. The rationale behind asset intensive project may be one or more of the following. For example, if the organizations want to expand a capacity, also the organization could be looking for a renewal or updating of an existing capacity. In other occasions, the reason is that the firm want to explore new business directions or maybe to improve an operational process. Also can be debottlenecking a particular operation for the organization or even for the protection of other assets. Sometimes the reasons can be technical developments that need to be done internally and externally. Other times the justification could be environmental or because the firm needs to respond to regulatory changes, to changes in legislation, for example. Business development is actually a key role of senior management, and one of the reasons because this task must be carried out by senior management is because development planning requires confidentiality. I mean, the decisions that are going to be taken will affect many other departments in the organization. The different plans may influence the overall direction of the business, so they are quite in touch with the business strategy. So, usually, the role of the business development group is to generate, assess, and monitor major potential developments. So, they will follow that process in order to evaluate and monitor the big projects that will be undertaken by an organization. And inside this project, we will find build asset projects. The business development group should rely on the existence of a recognized asset management group which has the necessary knowledge and skill. This is definitely an advantage for organizations when they are planning to undertake project connected with built asset. Here we can set the different stages of development of a business projects. In particular, the stages of development for a major business project that involves built assets are as follows. First, the project initiation. This means to identify the strategic needs or business needs that will initiate our project. Later, we need to do the capability requirements analysis to identify which capabilities can be achieved by developing these new business projects. In that process, the next stage would be the pre feasibility analysis. In that analysis, we will identify the options and we will start to evaluate them. In the feasibility analysis, we will detail the plan and we will get a better picture of what the project means for the organization. And obviously, the last stage would be the implementation of the project.